my presentation is that we have moved the needle on some of Nigeria's most difficult projects, and we are nearly closing them out. Lagos-Ibadan, Niger Bridge, Apapa Oworoshoki, Bodo Boni, roads that seem to defy possibilities. We have taken them on, and we're in control of them, and we will deliver as many of them as possible. So, in terms of specific of what will be handed over to the next generation, part of what I presented to you was our ministry already beginning to write our handing over notes. So we haven't finished. But when my colleague said, look, BRF, I need you to come and start this, I said, okay, let's present it up to the point where we are. By the time we want to go, I will invite you, as I did when I was living in 2018-19, and we will hand over our report. And I think that sets the context for the reply I will then give. Yes, we have problems with roads in Ekiti, and we're working on it. One of our limiting factors is revenue and budget provisions. And I have met with some of the traditional leaders there. I'm in constant touch with Governor Fayemi. The minister representing Ondo State, Adegoroye, is in touch with me. Alhaji Lai Mohammed himself knows the reality. It is what is appropriated. So most of the funds I've told you, for example, are extraordinary provisions by the president. So what's left in the budget is what legislators who finally approve the budget authorize for us to spend. Now, we have put the Akure-Ado-Ekiti road in the Sukuk. We are having problems with the contractor, and we are taking steps to remedy that. There's so many people we're interfacing with, and some of them, if they are listening, will bear witness. We will solve the problem. And also, we have issues in Kwara, but there are other roads coming into Kwara, Ilorin, Jeba, Mokwa. Some of the roads, they link Kwara. The road you talk about, the Kaba road, we were trying to finance through the tax credit. I believe that the design for that has been completed, but procurement process will start. Some we will start and we cannot finish because of the time, but we will put in a sustainable place where the next administration can take it on. And that takes me to Osita's question about council or no council. I think it is foolhardy, really and truly, for anybody to come. And it is a behavior that, as our democracy gets better, will hopefully dissipate, and will find less appeal. But for the record, President Buhari did not cancel or direct or order the cancellation of any project. He did not. Indeed, what he said was that as much as possible, go and complete what exists. And I've had cause to address this nomenclature about abandoned projects. And my conversation with people is, if you look at the meaning of abandoned projects, to abandon something, it means to forsake. We have not forsaken any project. But the truth is that there are not enough resources to finance all of them at the same time. So perhaps we want to redesignate the nomenclature to uncompleted projects because we have not forsaken them. They were designed for certain constituencies. As the revenues improve, priorities also. So perhaps in choosing what we do, if you look at this, we shared with you in the first time what we wanted to prioritize. We had 6 urgent priorities at that time. And you will also be able to glean them from the 9 priority areas of the conference of the retreat we just finished. One of our priorities was roads leading to ports, so that economy can move. We can decongest the seaports and the airports for efficiency of business. So that was a priority area, and you will see many of these roads either connect a seaport or an airport or something contiguous, or they are roads leading to prolific agricultural producing areas. That was a priority for us. Then there were roads leading to mineral producing areas and strategic petroleum depots and roads used for distributing petroleum products in order to ensure energy security. Then, of course, we prioritized roads where we had international multilateral contracts. And that's why I was speaking to you about Akwanga, Kefi, Lafayette, and all of those things. We also prioritized roads inside tertiary institutions, and we prioritize bridges. So we've talked only about 2 or 3 bridges here, but there's bridge maintenance works going on nationwide. New bridges are also being built nationwide. We didn't have time to talk about the Loko Oweto Bridge, or the Ikon Bridge, or the Ibi Bridge, or the Buruku Bridge that are all being built. So there was no time to talk about all of that. So each administration sets priority. You can't solve every problem. But priorities where the ultimate objective is, how can you do the greatest good to the greatest possible number in the shortest possible time? So, in terms of indebtedness, yes, this indebtedness figure is a moving target. So, when I started in 2015, I didn't share with you the debt owed to contractors. There were debts, we met them. I didn't share with you the debts owed to state governments. That has been largely paid. We paid almost $1 trillion to all the state governments across partisan lines. Those were debts incurred by the previous administration, approving for state governors to build federal roads and saying that they will reimburse them. So, we are also in this week, I've told you the challenges we had this week. Myself, the PAMSEC, and the Minister of State have been largely in retreat from Monday. We will go back to the office now, tidy up our paper, because we are preparing for budget defense. And we will share with you the final details, because those are not records I keep in my head. The Director of Finance and Accounts and the other directorates will submit a list of all the outstanding liabilities to see how we find a way for them in the budget or make appropriation for them. So that's the only way I can supply those kind of figures, not from my head. I regret to disappoint you. Gwarinpa, the point is taken about the need for a revolving fund, but also understand, please, that we operate in an environment of rules and regulations. So if any housing estate is sold today by us and proceeds come into government, they go into special dedicated accounts under the Treasury Single Account Directives. They become revenue to government. Because when you are making the budget, you see the revenue and the expenditure side. So when we are executing now, we're dealing with the expenditure side, awarding contracts. When the revenue comes back, we must account for it, because there were projected revenues of what will come in. And it is from the pot of treasury that really government can say that this is what has come in, and it is going either to paying workers' salary, or it is going into capital expenditure, and so on and so forth. Perhaps with organizations like the FHA, which is not, which is essentially a commercialized agency, we will take your message on board, but they keep their fund really. So they have ways of stratifying their funds now. Before now, when they did Gwarinpa, of course, it was a different story. Well, the commitment I made about the second Niger bridge at the retreat was that before this administration goes, it will be fully operational. I made that commitment. I stand by it. But what I was targeting was to see whether we could open it before Christmas. That's what I was targeting. And I hope I am properly understood and properly reported. My target was for Christmas so that it will give us relief around that area. I've spoken to you earlier about what we do. We have this Ember Month plan. The purpose is to plan for the large commuter movement that happens in Christmas. So one of our plans was if we could open that Niger bridge even before commissioning for people to use so that it relieves that sector in the same way that we were planning that we would open part of the Oyo-Ogbomosho, about 30 kilometers, that takes you inside Oyo. You can now bypass Oyo, going to Ilorin from Ibadan. We are hopeful also. But I reported to you about the Niger bridge that right now we can't walk there, it's flooded. So I don't know when the flood will fully subside and when work can restart. But I reiterate my report to you. The bridge is finished, but we need to access the bridge. And that is what we are working on, and we will do our best to try to solve it. But as far as handing it over before end of term, take that as given. That will happen. The question is, can it happen earlier? The first question about the Agbo Obiaruku Road. Well, I do apologize and sympathize for the experience you have on that road, but I think that we need to be careful to allege, for example, that billions were spent and the quality of road is not good and so on and so forth. What I know and what the engineers will tell you is that every road has a specified design life. And it is built with that specified design life for a specific axle load bearing capacity. That is, if you use it properly, the way it is designed to be used, it would last you this number of years. Once that number of years is finished, that road needs to be rebuilt. And when we say we are rebuilding a road is built from the base, what is called the sub-base. We're talking of laterite. So you have to first remove everything, which is what is going on Abuja Kano, which is what is going on Lagos Ibadan. You see excavation. All of that laterite cannot be used again. So you need fresh laterite, recompact, and then you put crushed stone, and then you put asphaltic, whatever, and you put the binder and the wearing cost. That's what it takes to rebuild a road. So what you are reporting, probably just rehabilitation to make the road motorable. If the base of the road is gone, no matter how you repair it, it will give temporary relief. When rain comes, and that is when you really feel the impact, once water enters under a road, it's gone. But axle load abuse also shortens the life expectancy of the road. And these are things that we are trying to enforce. Proper use as distinct from abuse. So what you are probably talking about have been rehabilitations just to improve them. Let me give you an example. When we were going to shut down the Abuja airport, we did a rehabilitation of the Abuja-Kaduna road. We documented every change. That's the language of the engineer, so I can borrow it. But that's at each kilometer where the pothole was. We filled them up. People traveled. 5 months later, there were potholes all over the road. So there was a public petition that, how can you say you did this road? It's all opened up, but the road had finished its design life. That road was built in 1991. If you calculate, it's over 25 years. It's finished. You have to rebuild. So when the petitioners petitioned, we invited them. We now showed them what we did. Kilometer this, kilometer that, and kilometer this. And we sent our team to go with them. Every place that we intervened about 5 months prior was still intact. But new potholes had opened up. And again, we documented, and they said, oh, they were sorry. They didn't understand it. So we had to explain to them, a road that has reached the end of life is like an old piece of cloth, your shirt. You know, the fabric is gone. So when you move like this, it will rip here. You will patch it. The following day, it will tear here. That's exactly the analogy to understand what we're dealing with. And I hope it explains. So, even in the bad weather, rainy season, we'll try and provide relief. We can't surrender and say we can't do anything. But that doesn't mean we have built that road. We're providing relief to keep people going. And that's what responsible governments should do while we plan the reconstruction. And that takes me to Benin, Eho, Auchi, Okene, Lokoja, because that's really the route. Now, we've done Benin to Eho. It's a better road now. It is the section between Auchi, really, that is really the problem. The problem we have there is that there is nowhere to drain water. That's the problem. So the contractor has slowed down. If you build that road and you don't get rid of water, you are losing the road in less than 5 years. Because water destroys roads. So we had thought of a bypass, which was going to take about 40 kilometers, but whose land do we pass through? If you get to after Auchi, the contractor there, Mother Cat, is working. That section is good. The section in Lokoja side was finished first. So these are the realities we deal with, and that is why we embrace these interactions, because it gives us an opportunity to really explain what our problem is. Abuja, Lokoja, Okene, yes, we have problems there. We just awarded the contract, and we also put it in the Sukuk. It was built before we came. It has failed. So we are reconstructing it. We also notice, I'm trying to forget the name of the particular location, where there's heavy deterioration because trucks park there. So our research and quality department have gone there. We have seen that it is the activity of axle load. One side is good, and that is the side where there is no cargo. The other side, when it is cargo bearing and ramping up a slope, puts pressure on the asphalt, and you have what is called rotting. So we've done a new design. We'll have a new contractor there, and you will see relief when the work is complete. Thank you very much.
I want to, at this point, thank the Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen of the media.
Thank you.